It's nice to see so many friendly faces here. I was going to introduce myself, but I think everybody here knows who I am. But just in case you don't, I'm Lev Poplow, and I'm with Indivisible Rhode Island. And I want to thank you for coming out on a very chilly November afternoon. As you may know, Indivisible Rhode Island exists to fight back in the Trump era. We fight every day to save democracy and to fight fascism. We fight every day for an America that's based in equity and justice for all. When Trump and the Republicans began the longest government shutdown in history, because our team decided we weren't going to play along and raise insurance rates by 2 to 3 times, it became clear that on November 1st, SNAP benefits were going to be cut off by people, including almost 145,000 Rhode Islanders. We knew we had to do something to help our fellow Rhode Islanders. So, Indivisible Rhode Island, we united with SEIU 1199 New England, our purple-shirted friends, the Rhode Island AFL-CIO, the Council of Churches, the Community Food Bank, and the new Indivisible Rhode Island Metro local chapter. There's Michaela over there, and many more partners in an alliance of labor, civic, and faith-based organizations to launch the Neighbor Food Network, a large-scale food and donation drive. Our goal was threefold. We wanted to make sure that no Rhode Islander would be without the food they needed by bringing as many groups together as possible to stage the largest food drive that Rhode Island has ever seen. We wanted to make sure that going into winter, the shelves, which are barren in many of Rhode Island's food pantries, were fully stocked. And we wanted to make sure that our federal delegation would know that our fellow Rhode Islanders weren't going to be hungry, so that they could stand strong and not cave in to the Republican demands. Well, we know now that 7 Democratic senators did cave. We can proudly say that our federal delegation did not cave in. They were no's till the very end. For Indivisible Rhode Island and the Neighbor Food Network campaign, we're not just about food. It's about freedom. Hunger is the oldest weapon of tyranny. A government that can make people go hungry at will can make them do anything. When Trump withholds benefits, he's not just breaking the safety net, he's breaking democracy. He's telling Rhode Islanders, obey me or starve. But we will not obey. This is what Indivisible Rhode Island was built for, to fight authoritarianism, not just with slogans, but with service. We feed our neighbors because the federal government won't. We stand with our Neighbor Food Network partners and hundreds of volunteers across the state who refuse to accept starvation as policy, because we are neighbors helping neighbors. Right now, as we stand here in Rhode Island, 3 other local Indivisible chapters are also holding food drives in Narragansett, in Warwick, and in Bristol. We believe that Rhode Islanders are stronger than fear, and we know that solidarity can feed more than bellies. It feeds courage. Every food drive, every union truck that delivering canned goods, every church opening its basement to distribute meals is an act of defiance. We saw this same spirit a couple of weeks ago at the No King's Day rally, when over 30,000 Rhode Islanders stood shoulder to shoulder to say that America does not need a king. When you show up, you realize that not only are you not alone, but you are actually part of something so much bigger than yourself. And that helps to build the shared sense of identity we will need for the path ahead. And while the government shutdown is coming to an end and SNAP dollars are once again flowing, that does not mean that there's an end to food insecurity for thousands of Rhode Islanders. Most food banks are dangerously low on supplies as we head into the winter, and we must help them. And thanks to the one big, horrifically horrible bill that was passed in July, Almost 3 million Americans are vulnerable to losing nutrition assistance. That horrifically cruel legislation partially offsets the cost of trillions of dollars of tax cuts to people that don't need a tax cut by slashing $186 billion from SNAP. This is what it looks like when an authoritarian government uses hunger as a weapon to control people. And so, the work of the Neighbor Food Network remains vitally important. Thanks to our partners, union halls all across the state are open to receive food donations. And our friends with the Teamsters are graciously helping to distribute the food to pantries all around the state. Wherever Rhode Islanders need food, this coalition is committed to being there to help. To learn more about how you can help, check out our website, neighborfoodnetwork.org. And if you want to make a money donation, we encourage you to go to rifoodbank.org. For us, at Indivisible Rhode Island, our mission is grounded in building a democracy of, by, and for the people. One that centers equity, justice, and community care. This moment is beyond politics. When food on the table is at stake, we cannot wait. We must act together. Thank you again for being here. We have a couple more speakers who'd just like to share a few words with you. I'd like to invite Kat Troshaska with Climate Action Rhode Island to come up to the microphone, who can tell me that I once again mispronounced, after a valiant try, have mispronounced her last name.
It's Polish, it's fine. So, hi guys, how you guys doing today? Good. Thank you so much for coming out today on this freezing November day to take care of your fellow Rhode Islanders and make sure no one's starving. You guys should clap for yourselves for being out here on your Saturday afternoon. It's pretty awesome. So as Lev said, my name is Kat Sahatska. That's how you say it, by the way, Lev. Sahatska, like she's so hot. Anyway, sorry. But you may have heard of us. We're Carrie, otherwise known for Climate Action Rhode Island. Diane's over there recording me awkwardly right now. And I just want to give you guys a shout out. So we at Carrie believe that everyone has a right to a safe and healthy planet, clean air and water, and a livable future. This includes our belief that sustainable food systems and food access are an important and fundamental part of this, as a basic need to sustain our lives. This is something the current Trump administration is kind of at odds with. We've seen how they've cut SNAP benefits from communities in need across the country, therefore cut off access to food. Food scarcity and insecurity is not new. This is a systematic injustice that has been left underfunded and unacknowledged by those in power, like the current Trump administration, very much coinciding with our climate crisis. You didn't think I was going to come up here and only talk about food and not talk about the climate crisis, right? I think you guys knew that, right? So both challenges are so large and overlapping, yet only those who are directly impacted by it feel the burden, while this administration exacerbates it tenfold, in my opinion. And when it comes to the climate crisis, the impacts are sometimes so out of sight and out of mind that we forget how it influences our day-to-day lives. And instead of finding solutions to these issues, the EPA, which is supposed to protect our environment like the name suggests, is now trying to say the climate crisis is good for us and denying general science consensus and past reports. While we're living in this crisis, seasons are fluctuating. This is going to get really depressing for a minute, I apologize. It's just reality, I don't know. Droughts and wildfires are constant, and we're experiencing extreme weather with heavy rainfall and floods, all of which affect our soil, pollinators, and crops. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, the ones that are melting right now. In this domino effect, food scarcity goes up, along with our already expensive food costs and other rising costs of living. And so then will our access to the food we need. I'm not even going to tackle the issue of corporations profiting as much as possible on basic needs like food right now. You should, by the way, this is my volunteer work. My regular work is working in recovering food, you guys should look up how much food gets thrown out simply because it's not being sold, which is about a third of all food across the country in grocery stores. It's wild. But one problem at a time, otherwise we'll be here all day, and it's freezing. We are part of an ecosystem that's fundamentally works together to keep us alive. We work with the land in order to live, and we have a right to be able to do so, which, shocker, includes eating. But Trump's administration does not care. They care about their own personal agendas and their corporate donors' pockets. They don't care if we can survive tomorrow as long as they can take every penny while making sure we get little to nothing. I personally find it odd that in this world we have equated a person's worth and value based on how much they make. I've actually heard people defend cutting SNAP benefits as if the value of another person and their right to food is something that can be questioned. It makes me then ask them, are they saying that a person doesn't have a right to live? Do we not have a right to simply exist as a living being, to feed ourselves, our families, and live on a planet that actually has a livable future? Don't we have a fundamental right to clean air, water, land, and therefore sustenance? And when did these all become far-fetched, radical ideas? Just to live. I don't trust this administration to do the right thing because, let's just be honest, they've consistently haven't. You're all here, you're helping your community and working together. You guys honestly give me a lot of hope, and I know it's a small crowd, but this is still something. We're gonna keep doing this. Let's keep fighting, showing up, and showing this administration that we take care of our homes, our neighbors, and we need to make sure that we have a better tomorrow. Thank you. And check out our table over there if you want to join us on the climate fight. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Sohaska.
You're welcome. You got it.
Finally, it's only been how many years? So next I'd like to invite up Courtney Threats, social worker, Butler Hospital, and she's also with one of our Neighbor Food Network partners, SEIU 1199.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Love said, my name is Courtney Threats. I'm a social worker at Butler Hospital and a proud member of SEIU 1199 Northeast. I'm very excited to be here today just to talk to you about the Neighbor Food Network. Every day in the work that I do, I encounter people who are living with food insecurity. They are our neighbors, our families, our friends. They're people who are working multiple jobs just to survive. Food insecurity affects everyone. Can you hear me now? Okay. Food insecurity affects everyone, from children to veterans and senior citizens. Recently, I visited a local food pantry and I saw dozens of people walking away with orange slips of paper, which meant that they had to wait an entire week before they could access food from that location. When I spoke with one of the organizers, I learned that the need for that week was exponentially greater than the week before. She also mentioned that basic donations like cereal so that children could have breakfast were critical to them sustaining their effort. I couldn't believe that in 2025, in one of the richest countries in the world, people were being turned away from a food pantry and forced to go hungry. That's why my union siblings and labor partners like Rhode Island's AFL-CIO and the Teamsters have come together with religious leaders and community organizations like Indivisible to launch the Neighbor Food Network. The network has established 15 emergency food drop-off locations across Rhode Island. People can also donate to the United Way or sign up to volunteer. As social workers, we don't just support individuals, we also examine the systems that impact the quality of each person's life. In doing so, we recognize that supporting community changes the lives of the individuals that live in them. And the labor movement has maintained a long-standing commitment to uplifting our communities. So So no matter what happens in Washington, we feel like it is incumbent upon us all to act. This is our call to action. And I stand here today inviting you to join us by going to the neighborfoodnetwork.org, signing up to volunteer, or doing something small. Because if each one of us does something small, the impact will be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Rhode Islanders are lucky to have a union like SEIU 1199 representing healthcare workers in the state. They are so active and so strong, and they fight for everybody, not just themselves. Now, I'd like to introduce a young man who I just met a week ago, who told his story and blew me away. His name is Christopher Garcia Diaz. He's a high school student at Central High School who was personally impacted by what happened with the SNAP benefits being turned off. Christopher?
Hello, my name is Christopher Alexander Garcia Diaz, and I am a senior at Central High School. For the record, I'm no longer affiliated with the Rise. I'm not just here as a student. I'm here as a brother, a son, and someone who's tired of watching the people he loves be discarded as if they don't even matter. When the government shut down, it wasn't the rich who went hungry. It wasn't the politicians or the bigwigs who started to starve. It was us, my family, and others like mine. All of us who didn't have the luxury of being independent of SNAP and surviving on our own. SNAP isn't a charity. It's a lifeline. And cutting it during a crisis isn't just a budget decision. It's an attack on all of us. This is them cutting us loose so billionaires can have a couple more million in their pockets while we have to fight for what little scraps we can get. We don't see Congress skipping meals. We don't see politicians going hungry. It's single mothers, elders, children, people who have to work so hard for so little. I grew up watching my mom hold it down alone. She'd come home too tired to eat the meals I cooked her. She'd come home unable to even move from the couch to her own bed. And still, our fridge had something in it. We could still eat because of her. This was because of her strength and her sacrifice. That's strength. That's love. And that's exactly who this system targets. This isn't just about food anymore. It's about power. They aren't just cutting SNAP. They're raising rent. They're underfunding schools, and they're making healthcare unaffordable. This isn't just them saving money. It's about them getting a thrill out of deciding which one of us gets to live and who doesn't. I'm here to say we aren't playing by their rules anymore. This system doesn't work for us. And if a nation this rich can let people starve, then this system is doing exactly as they planned. They made this to keep poor people poor, to keep working people tired, and to keep us silent. But silence is no longer an option. We can't stay down. We can't keep letting them see us as subhuman. We are human. Just because we're darker or from another place, this doesn't change that fact. We deserve more than to just survive. We deserve to live. We deserve to be stable, to be happy, to be safe. And if those in power won't give it to us, we'll take it. We've seen what happens when we wait. They get bolder. They dig us a deeper hole. They gut our communities and pretend they understand our struggles. They raise our cost of survival just to make their pockets a little heavier. To those in power, this is a warning. We are no longer begging. We are demanding. Food is a right. Housing is a right. Healthcare is a right. And education is a right. We aren't asking you for anything anymore. We're simply making sure you can no longer ignore us. This isn't just about SNAP. This is so much more. It's about every system that tells us we are worth less. It's about the privileged mocking our struggles. I'm not here fighting only for justice. I'm here fighting for all of our survival, just like every one of you. We are what keep this country going. We're its backbone. And if we ever stop holding it up, it will collapse on itself. So if we keep showing for ourselves, we will. If we keep speaking up, if we keep fighting, no one will have to choose between paying rent and feeding their children. We'll do this until no one has to worry about being snatched off the streets because they don't belong. And so we can be seen as not only human, but the unstoppable, hardworking force we are. I'm here fighting for my family, my mother, my baby brother, and everyone else who isn't fighting for themselves. I'm fighting for those like me, like you and me, who get put down by the wealthy, and I'm speaking for what's right, even without an organization backing me. It's not impossible for any one of us to speak. If we all try, we can't be ignored. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. It's amazing someone so young can speak with so much passion and knowledge and wisdom. Thank you so much. We are all excited to see what you're going to become. Speaking of a fighter who cares about equity and justice and affordability and fairness, our final speaker of the day is a Rhode Island State Senator, a recently declared candidate to be Providence's next mayor. I am honored to introduce a true social justice warrior and a man that I am lucky enough to call my friend, David Morales.
Hunger is the oldest tool of tyranny. What we have seen over the last several months is an attempted fascist takeover of the federal government. First, they have started with extremist rhetoric to keep our communities alarmed. They have moved on to snatch our neighbors off the streets. And in their most recent ploy, the Trump administration has forced tens of thousands and millions of Americans to go hungry. And in each and every single one of those moments, right here in our backyard in Providence and all across Rhode Island, our community has stood up. Whether it was the formation of the Deportation Defense Network that has protected our immigrant communities on the ground, whether it has been the countless demonstrations like the No Kings rally and some of the impromptu protests led by Indivisible and other local organizations on the ground, we have responded as a community, saying no to fascism and saying that we will not bow down to any form of tyranny. And in this newest iteration, where they try to starve our neighbors in need, working families, many of whom share the story that Christopher just shared with us, a working mom trying to balance and have a sense of stability for her and her children, many of our immigrant households thriving to have a better future for themselves, being forced to struggle. Our seniors on limited fixed incomes, having to not only face increasing housing costs, but are now being told, oh yeah, that money you had saved up to pay for your utility bill, now you have to make the choice whether it's food or a full payment of your utilities. These are the impossible choices that our neighbors are being asked to make. But I just want to reiterate again, in Rhode Island, we continue to stand up and take care of one another, neighbor to neighbor, because of all of you, to our friends and neighbors, to our brothers and sisters and non-binary friends in the labor movement, to all of the grassroots organizations here today. We have been able to put together a food drive that is going to guarantee that many of our food pantries, especially those that go overlooked, are receiving the help that they need during this critical moment. Because we know that now more than ever, the demand is growing. Now more than ever, our neighbors are feeling desperate. Our neighbors don't know where to turn. But again, we have something special in our little state, and that's the power of community. The power of community that shares that each and every single time more of the lunacy that comes out of DC makes its way over here, we're going to be here to take care of one another. So whether they continue to threaten our immigrant neighbors or force our neighbors to go hungry, here in Rhode Island, we're going to continue to stand with each other. So thank you all so much. Whether you have donated, whether you have helped organize the message and getting your neighbors to also recognize that, no, we are not helpless. We can take care of one another. Here locally, we can create change. The Neighbor Food Network started because neighbors identified a need. And together, we're gonna bridge that gap. And a bridge that's much more sustainable than the Washington Bridge. We're gonna be a bridge that is sustained and connected with one another, and you're all the ones that make it possible, so thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you to all of our speakers today, Kat, Courtney, Christopher. You know, 250 years ago, we declared our independence from a king. And today we repeat, we are not going back. What Trump and his cronies are doing is scary, no doubt. But we cannot let it envelop and defeat us. We will stay vigilant. We will fight back in every small way we possibly can until truth prevails, and it will. The time for action is here, and the time is now. We call on you to decide, what are you willing to do to save democracy and carry our country forward into a shared future based on equity and justice for all? Right now, more local Indivisible chapters are forming in towns and cities across Rhode Island to do the boots on the ground organizing necessary to build strong and resilient communities. If you are ready to become more active in the fight of our lives, go to our website, indivisiblerhodeisland.org. If you're not already on our mailing list, sign up for our mailing list. You will start receiving information from us about these new groups. There are groups to join that are forming right now. If there is no group in your town, when you respond, send me an email. We will get one started in your town. In summation, as our union friends like to say, when we stand together, we win. So, thank you for being a neighbor helping neighbors. Have a great afternoon.